Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 187 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news as well as we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, where the vibes couldn't be any higher, with my fellow after Game Award votees.
Let's go. My name's Craig, also a votee.
My name is also Craig. Do the awards even matter anymore?
No, probably not. We'll get into that in the news this week.
Yep.
Overall, I felt like it was more just an E3 and with some awards sprinkled in it. Yeah,
I know.
It was,
Yep.
We'll kind of get into it a little bit more. But what I did want to ask is just because we're already in the news. Speaking of the Game Awards, there's no transition needed. Does anybody have anything not Game Awards related? Let's go ahead and do that first.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I
Craig.
have just some small ones here that I wanted to not forget to mention. The one was season 2 of The Last of Us, 2025. I think that is probably one of the first casualties of the writer strike that we're seeing. I think a lot of us expected 2024, but it makes sense because now they can really start getting into it. So, I mean, that's fine. There's going to be plenty of things to watch this coming year that I can wait an extra year. That's only going to be, from what they're saying, half of the game. I think they're still talking about 2 seasons for that second game.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's cool. I'm ready. I'm excited. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully. And then the other one, also movie related. I don't know if you guys are Ocean 11, like that whole series fans. I know I am.
Yeah.
Grew up on Ocean's 11.
Go on.
Getting another one. And this one I'm actually excited about. Oceans, which is going to be a prequel with Danny Ocean and his wife. But we're getting a reunited of Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie playing husband and wife. So the Barbie co-actors are going to be reunited. I think it's going to be sweet. That sounds like the perfect pairing. If you're going to pick somebody to play a young Danny Ocean, I think Ryan Gosling is a good pick.
Yeah, especially after his comedic display recently, in Barbie. How many Barbie jokes do you think they're going to put in there?
None. I think they stay far away from it.
Okay. We'll see.
Because, I mean, those movies have a certain tone to them, and I don't think putting a Barbie joke in there would work. Maybe. It is a comedy. Barry, have you watched the Ocean movies?
I have not, no.
Oh. There's another one to add to your list. Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12. 13's not bad, honestly.
I have to find out where they're streaming. If they are, that'll be the...
They have to be streaming.
They have to
somewhere.
be on something, yeah.
Yeah.
They're heist movies, right?
Yeah, and it's like it's probably the first recollection I have of an ensemble cast like that. I know there's been other movies before with that, but if I'm thinking about my youth, that was one of those, that was what The Expendables is doing, in the last, decade, but with action stars, so.
Only better than The Expendables.
Better than The Expendables, yes.
The last thing I had, not related, kind of, but game related. I just wanted to get everybody's thoughts on the no return mode in this Last of Us Part 2 remaster. This, I don't even know what you would call it.
No, this little roguelike thing.
Roguelike.
Roguelike.
This seems to be what every game developer seems to be wanting to make right now for whatever reason. But I think it looks okay. I don't know if it's this seems like something that should be multiplayer, to be honest, and it doesn't look like it is. So I just don't really see the point. Maybe you try it once or twice, and then that's it. But it would have to I'd have to be really engrossed in the gameplay to do it. And if I'm going to do a roguelike of a game that I enjoy the combat of, it's not going to be The Last of Us. It's going to be a game we talk about later. God of War.
Do you think that is exactly what it is? Is the studio just trying it out first before they would maybe venture into multiplayer version of that? Like they're kind of just tasting the soup.
They were trying to make one of those.
Yeah, it got canceled.
And it got canceled.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't need that in The Last of Us though. I mean, I might try it just because I just played through The Last of Us Part 2. So the idea of buying this again even though it's only $10 and playing through it again, I don't know if I'm going to do that. So I might just check it out and see. I mean, the idea of playing as different characters sounds interesting, but like it all depends on the replay value on this thing. If it's like half
Agreed.
baked and you play it, twice and you've seen everything you need to see out of it, there's no point to touch it again.
I personally just don't need anything except an immersive Last of Us story, if I'm being completely honest. I know game developers get pressured to outdo themselves
Right.
installment after installment, DLC after DLC, but I don't know if I'm going to, or if I'm even excited about it. I'm kind of lukewarm at the moment. Like, oh, there it is, so that's kind of where I'm at.
But I mean, at the end of the day, thank God for the $10 upgrade price. Barry, I know you spent a bunch more to get the other edition, but the $10 for me is like perfect. Yeah. I will 100% give them $10.
Those steel books all together are going to look real nice. That's all.
I hope so. For that price.
In the end, that's what it's all for, I guess.
The real question though is, did you get your Sora amiibo pre-ordered?
I did not. No, that thing sold out quick. It's going to be this. I hope it's just the same thing with the Tears of the Kingdom amiibo. Like I thought those were going to be rare, but they're stores still have them. So I'm just like, it's Disney affiliated, Square Enix affiliated. Like, come on, just make enough of them that everybody can get them. It's
Agreed.
Should be fine. I really don't want to have to go into the black market for that, but
StockX.
I know a guy.
Yeah,
I got a guy.
That's fair. That's all the like outside news I had, just short ones.
Okay. So what I'll do first is we'll go into the Game Awards, and in case you didn't watch it, I will go over every winner. Yep. And then we can just give, I guess, our thoughts on the winners before we get into all the trailers and the little drama the Game Awards. We didn't have any like people storm the.
No, but that kid was there.
Yeah, the kid.
Did you see that?
Was he? I didn't see that the kid was there.
He got a trespassing order, but he was there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, Games for Impact winner was Tachia. We have Super Mario Bros. Wonder as family game. Game art direction went to Alan Wake 2. Esports player was Faker. Action adventure went to Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Action game went to Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. Let's see here. Alan Wake game/studio direction was Alan Wake. Content creator of the year was Iron Mouse. Narrative went to Alan Wake 2.
Yes.
Role-playing game went to Baldur's Gate 3. Esports game went to Valorant. Independent game went to Sea of Stars.
Greg.
Anticipated game went to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Duh.
Multiplayer game went to Baldur's Gate 3. Mobile game went to Honkai Star Rail.
Let's go.
I knew you were excited.
I was.
Best adaptation went to The Last of Us. Best ongoing game, Cyberpunk 2077.
It's not an ongoing game, but continue.
Yes. Yeah, I guess for whatever reason, it's definitely missing some. I don't know why. Because I'm looking at here, and it was best music was what was it? It was.
I don't remember.
What was best?
It wasn't Baldur's Gate.
No, it was. It was the game we love so much. Hi-Fi
Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush.
We also love Final Fantasy 16, but yeah, it was
can't believe I almost forgot about that. That would have been pretty bad. Yep. So best art direction was Alan Wake 2. Mm-hmm. Best score in music was Final Fantasy 16, which best score in music. So
sure.
Final Fantasy 16.
That's
audio design was Hi-Fi Rush.
Audio design.
Oh yeah.
Best performance went to Neil Newbon of Baldur's Gate 3. Innovation and accessibility went to Forza Motorsport. And I think I pretty much got all of that. Oh, best debut indie game was Cocoon.
Mm-hmm. It's a good game.
Best VR AR game was Resident Evil Village. That probably didn't have much of it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a clearly
game of the year.
Best fighting was Street Fighter 6. Best RPG was also Baldur's Gate 3. And best sim/strategy was Pikmin 4. Best racing/sports was Forza Motorsport. And lastly, now that I have all of them, lastly, game of the year probably went to no surprise if you're reading the context clues.
Yep.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
You know what? One thing I wanted to point out. What's the game that didn't win anything?
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
2.
Which,
Incredible.
yeah, which speaking of, I guess we can get right into like that drama point there because you segued into it so nicely.
Mhm.
People are fighting over the internet,
Of
on the
course.
internet. Sorry, of course, about the differences in Baldur's Gate 3 and the differences in Spider-Man 2 over like certain awards. Uh, just because some of the stuff that Baldur's Gate 3 won for, which I think was, let's see here.
RPG,
Mm.
Well, no,
multiplayer.
I'm trying to remember what exactly was the one that got people
Like
like those
angry.
two communities fighting over each other. Just because
How dare Sony first party not win an award?
It wasn't
it was
players'
not.
it wasn't players'
Yeah.
voice, right?
No.
Okay.
Let's see here. I think it was maybe best game direction, just
Okay.
because.
Bless you.
Yeah, bless
Good
you,
one.
Barry.
Sorry about that, guys. I think it was best game direction because like there was a clip of when Miles gets punched by Sandman and he kind of gets punched several blocks back and zooms all the way back in, whereas the gameplay for Baldur's Gate 3 was stab, and then that was it. Um,
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot, and I got to be honest with you guys. I got into so many arguments this week about gamers on either side of the fence, but never in the middle. I'm the one
Yeah.
in the middle. Like
Yeah.
it was terrible this week. I was losing brain cells
Oh, I can imagine.
talking to people who are still my friends. Let's be honest. Like I'm not
Yeah.
ruining friendships or anything like that, but it was a terrible time because the argument is the Spider-Man fans see Baldur's Gate as a word mid and boring, where Baldur's Gate fans or Baldur's Gate 3 fans see the game see Spider-Man as just another Sony exclusive in a
Mhm.
way. So there's room to be had on both sides. I am personally, I wish Spider-Man did win something. Would have been nice to win something. I thought the game was good enough to win something.
Hmm.
Uh,
I think action adventure is where it should have won over Zelda. That's just me opinion. Like
and
I almost felt like they're like, well, we got to
Yeah.
give Zelda something, you know, because it's not going to win Game of the Year now, like everybody thought it would.
Yeah, when I saw that, I'm in agreement with you on that, Craig.
Yeah.
I was surprised that Spider-Man 2 did not win that.
Yep.
Um,
It's
a
just
little
wild to
outraged.
me to not see a Sony first party exclusive win something, because we're so, and that's not like a dig. That's just like we're so conditioned to like Sony first party games are like top tier games. They always have been in the past, what, 5-10 years. You just expect that, like, oh, there's a God of War, there's a Spider-Man coming out, that's Game of the Year material before we even play it. And I still think it is Game of the Year material. I just don't think it is Game of the Year. And that's
yeah,
coming from
absolutely.
somebody who hasn't played Baldur's Gate, and I'm gonna try it, but I guarantee you I'm probably not gonna like it. But it probably deserves it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, as
gameplay is different. Yeah, go ahead,
yeah,
Greg.
no, I was gonna say, as somebody who played both and who actually beat, Spider-Man 2, did not beat Baldur's Gate yet.
Mhm.
To me, it wasn't a question. I know we had this talk last week about our picks collectively, and there's a world where I wouldn't be upset if Spider-Man 2 won more categories than it actually sorry, won any categories. But I understand why Baldur's Gate 3 cleaned house in a lot of them. I also but like I don't know. I thought it was going to win something.
Mhm.
But Barry, I kind of admire your middle spot because, as gamers, we're naturally outraged or ecstatic. Those are like the two feelings that we have. There's no like with stuff like this. And I don't see why there's so much drama with it. Um but we do definitely argue about everything. So I mean I could understand why there is. So
Well, and a lot of the time too, it's these gamers and the people who, of course, are loudest on the internet. They've either played one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't played both. So and that's my biggest pet peeve with all of it is I'm pretty sure there's a word for like showing favoritism over one thing, but then never exploring or experiencing or even giving the other thing a chance.
Yep.
I think it's prejudice, maybe. Maybe
Yeah.
that's
Mm-hmm.
probably the word I'm looking for. But it blows my mind. Baldur's Gate 3 and Spider-Man 2 are both fantastic games.
they are.
I wish Spider-Man 2 won something, sure. But Spider-Man 2 did win the fastest selling PS5 console exclusive game.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
an award for that studio isn't going to do anything. It,
They
it you
just put
know,
it on the box. And let's be honest, how many people look at that when you're buying a game?
exactly. And
Seriously.
digital wise, you
Yeah.
don't even see it anymore.
It'll be
Exactly.
on the page. They'll put it on the page. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I bet you if you turn on your Xbox right now and go to Forza on Game Pass, those two awards are probably on the page for it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, me personally, like I was psyching myself up to get upset that Alan Wake didn't win any categories, and the fact that it
Yeah.
won multiple just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like that to me was more shocking than Spider-Man not winning, because I know I love Alan Wake, I always have, and I just always assume that like it's always going to get overlooked. So it was nice that it actually was acknowledged. It's like, no, it actually is a good game.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry
especially
you got spoiled, Barry.
That's okay.
oh, that was awesome. I know we can talk
It
about
was.
that and maybe its own 2 to 3 minute segment, but that was awesome.
It's incredible.
I had small things I was surprised about, like Armored Core.
Yeah.
Does not define the word action at all to me because of the things we
It's
talked
fast
about.
paced.
It is fast paced, and I know in prior podcast episodes we talked about it when it actually came out and we played a little bit of it. But my gripe still is with the break that in the action that seems
Yeah.
to kind of take away from it. But I was surprised with that category. I was surprised with Alan Wake 2 winning so much because we talked literally last week about how it's kind of almost a niche game. And was it going to get enough in the small amount of time that it's been out publicity, for it to kind of take the hold that it did. So it's surprising. And I'm again, shout out to like just the entire anybody who had a hand in Alan Wake 2 because I mean they should be very proud of themselves. They really
Mm-hmm.
should.
Yeah.
So, and we are into a little bit of the drama already, so I guess we just continue to do the drama stuff. The next drama portion is Christopher Judge's remarks on Call
Yep.
of Duty's campaign in his speech, and then Call of Duty devs getting upset about it.
Mhm.
I this one's tough. I try to stay on both sides of the fence here. Uh, because on the one end, do I agree with Christopher Judge? Yes, the campaign is a it's a disgrace to what
Yep.
that campaign should have been and what we'd come to expect. But then also, I imagine this has a lot to do with developers being crunched. Develop and from what I understand, these original developers were told it was an expansion on the game and not a full on game. But executives get greedy and change everything up. And maybe with Xbox now or Microsoft now owning that studio, things will change. And maybe we will find. I'm hoping they just scrap whatever that campaign was. I know they won't. It hurts
Yeah.
that they probably won't because they should. That on both ends of the spectrum, no one's really right here. It's everyone knows that Call of Duty's campaign is short and not very good.
Yeah.
But did Christopher Judge need to say that?
No.
Probably not.
Mm-mm. I find myself like, I love Christopher Judge. He's a phenomenal voice actor, and he'll like Kratos is iconic. But every time he shows up in an award show, I just kind of like roll my eyes. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, here we go again. Like the dude he needs to chill a little bit. But at the same time, if you put out a disgusting single player campaign like that, you deserve to get made fun of. You really do. And again, it may not be the developer's fault, but the fact is you let that go out the door and called that your campaign, and everybody else has been making fun of it and saying how bad it is. He's not the only person who's taken a shot at it. He just did it on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's where don't do it at the gala event.
Yeah.
We're all talking about it. We all know.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you asked, even some people on that team, they would maybe admit it to you after a couple of beers, but
Yep.
just not there. And number one, he already has a stigma surrounding him, Judge himself. He's there. There was gag before it about him being
Yep.
there and about him keeping it short. And you at home, I'm sure, like me, because this is how I was at home. I was just like, just don't say anything too
Yep.
long. Just get off the stage, that type of thing. And he just had to say something. So I don't know. I don't know if it was a lapse in judgment, or if it was, or how his comedy routine is going, but just not there, man.
Yeah.
Just not there. So.
And just to segue into probably the last part in the, I'm gonna put it as the last part and the biggest part of the drama, is the fact that this is supposed to be a celebration of games.
Yep.
Anybody who watched the Game Awards will know that less than probably 20% of the show was like giving awards to these developers, giving them a chance to speak on their platform.
Yep.
Short speeches, short, very much so, and a lot of people had problems with it, and I'll be honest, I do too.
Yep.
If this was to be a trailer show, then he should, like Jeff Keighley, and this is falls on Jeff Keighley.
Yep.
Should have been like, you know what? I don't need to talk to my best friend, my podcast friend Hideo Kojima for 15 minutes about a trailer that showed 15 seconds of nothing.
No, that looks phenomenal.
No, and I get it. It looks phenomenal, but the
Yeah.
stage he gave Hideo Kojima for that, I'm sorry, but what is that?
I
Like
I think that comes down.
I get that they're best friends, and I like that Jordan Peele is involved in it as well. I I don't know, like it the game just showed, and I get it's animation, like that's Unreal Engine 5. It's a
Yep.
demo to show what that game can do. Um but I get it. It's a horror game. Everybody's happy he's working on a horror game,
Game.
much like game.
Put it in quotations.
Yeah.
Movie/game.
Movie game, a meme.
But
No,
but
that's
if you remember correctly, I know I brought it up. I feel like we all have at some point where I have said personally that at this point Hideo just needs to make a movie because his games are always like 30 hours of cutscenes. So like the idea of him doing this,
no, just playing.
yes, they are. The idea of him doing this like excites me because I'm like, yeah, this is what I want. Like, do a movie, interactive movie. Like those games are out there. I've played a bunch of them. They're fun if you go in knowing that's what it is. If it's like I'm gonna watch this movie, I'm gonna make some decisions, maybe do some light gameplay. So for me, like they did spend a lot of time on it. I'm excited for it. I was more excited for Jordan kind of hinting that there was other people involved as well. I'm just like, ooh, who else is in this thing? But yeah, there was a lot of time for, what little they showed. But they do this every year with Hideo. Every year.
And they said it's a horror game, right? I heard that correctly. So
Mhm.
if we're thinking of the man who literally created one of the, I guess, public sadness for not coming to fruition, scary games, going back into scary games with arguably one of the best horror director writers in
Of
the
all time.
last of
Of all time.
all time.
You could
Okay,
say all time. I think so. I think he's earned it.
I was wondering. Yeah, like we'll
That's
say
fair.
all time. We'll say all time.
Yeah.
So that collaboration is fantastic. I know there was a lot of people that were excited,
Mhm.
and I yelped. I made a noise that I don't normally make as a human when
Me too.
that happens. So
Yep. I did that's Jordan. That's Jordan's music. Is he coming out? Is that Jordan? You saw the Nikes and I went, that's Jordan.
it's nice. I see a pair of Nikes.
That's Jordan for sure. Get so excited.
Yeah, and that was just like a small part of it. I do understand all of the want to show off trailers, and that's what gets people to watch the show
Yep.
is the announcements. But the developers deserve better. We're supposed to be celebrating them, and they get maybe a minute and a half on stage, and people are like they're not only doing it, but like when two people come up, that first person, no, you don't like you could talk, but that second person, we're gonna start playing the music.
Yep.
It's just like get you don't have to play the music the moment they stop talking. You can
Yeah.
give the silence in the room a bit of like you can give whatever words they say room to breathe before you
Yep.
start doing all that. I hope better that I hope Keeley does better in the future, just because it's not this year I get was exciting for a bunch of trailers. We haven't really seen a lot of
Mm-hmm.
announcements as of late, so to get them was nice. But it didn't feel right for the developers that you invited so much to come through, and now you practically kicked them off your stage.
Yeah. Why don't next year he just have some version of a red carpet where he plays the, I don't know, the less anticipated or what would be anticipated after the trailers played type of games, and play 70 to 80% as you're building it up. Like build a hour red carpet around that. Save the big 5 to 10 for the game
Mm-hmm.
awards so that way you keep the people in, and then do an award ceremony.
Yeah.
Like doing awards. There was a part where he listed five, what was it, 5 awards in a
Yep.
row?
Yep.
And
It was
the way
it
you
was his
list,
attitude.
yeah, and it's like, but that's like the way you list a shopping list. You're like, all right, I need milk, I need cheese. What was the other one?
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, that's right, lettuce. And they won an award.
Yep.
They won an award for the year in their category. Like, come on.
The crazy thing to me was it was his attitude for me, the way he was running through them so quickly. But some of those categories, like the one specifically that stuck out for me was like the Armored Core one. That was what best action game,
Yeah.
right? Like that was one he was just like, and best action game, Armored Core, okay. And I'm like, wait, normally best action's like a big category,
Yeah.
right? That like that's
Oh
one of
yeah.
the staples, and he's just like listing it in a list of five. I get doing it at the beginning of the show, and I forget her name. She did a good job of like
Sydney
these
Goodman.
are, yeah, these are the lesser known ones, but like I get that because here's your best esports team. Those are the ones that like, yeah, list those out. Like we don't need to spend 20 minutes on these, but when you get to these like best action game, all that, like you need to give it some time. And on the side note, like you can keep the musical performances. I think those are awesome.
I
Like
thought so too.
keep those. But like, yeah, give those like that was the only award I don't agree with it, but that's the only award that Armor Core won. Allow those developers to get up there and say something.
Yeah,
Please.
if Spider-Man would have won, do you think he
Oh,
would
that
have
would have
stopped?
been up.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Because Sony would have made them.
Yeah.
But Bandai is, they're a smaller company.
Yeah. Especially compared to Sony.
Yeah. It's just kind of disappointing. I agree.
Yeah, that's at least a lot of the drama that happened with the Game Awards. Overall, I thought the show like it's exciting to see all the
Mhm.
trailers, and when we talk about the trailers next up here, there's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah.
It's just again a matter of the developers. I don't feel like got their fair share of time.
They did.
And that's not fair to them. We're supposed to be celebrating the people who brought us um endless hours of fun, the escape from the daily grind,
Mhm.
the representation that people want to see in media. Like games is the best platform for some of the ways to like make people feel better about themselves or make people forget about what's going on. And those developers deserve a chance to say like thanks to the fans, thanks to their families. And on behalf of this podcast, like I'll say like thank you to every
Yep.
single
Yeah.
game
It's been a
that was
year.
nominated.
It has been
Um,
Mhm.
a year.
Yep.
and they deserve more. Maybe we send out emails to the to these
Yes.
companies and be like, "Do you want to provide a statement?" And we'll read it on our or send us a video message and I'll put it in the video.
Yep.
I'll do whatever it takes. Just to give these developers a moment to their right moment to shine.
Yeah.
Just
For
personally.
sure.
Also, shout out to old gods of Asgard. Oh my god.
What a performance!
Killed it.
That
Whoa.
that Final Fantasy performance was
That's
also
good.
just like
That was.
they nailed the musical
So was
performance.
the Hellblade.
Yes, and
Yeah,
That was
Resident
cool
Evil.
too.
that
Yeah,
was
they're all cool.
I thought all the performances were good. So keep that. I love video game music. If you can't tell by the fact I have a Horizon Forbidden West vinyl, and I have also a ton of other video game vinyls on there. I
Yep.
love video game music, and it should be celebrated more. Which I'm trying to do that for the channel. I'll talk about that at a later point. Games,
Yeah, there's
game
a lot of them.
trailers that shined.
wow,
Way too many to go over. Far too many. That's
far
what
too many.
the show was. But I'll list over a couple that I see here, and maybe we go into the ones that made us feel something inside.
Sure.
I thought one of the things was cool. Dave the Diver and Dredge are teaming up.
Yeah.
For some DLC/game. It's like the most
Let's
perfect
go.
fit.
Yeah,
It's the most perfect fit I've ever seen. World of Goo 2 announced. Kind of a cult classic there.
Mm-hmm.
Metaphor Refantasio trailer shown. We have Matthew McConaughey being in a game called Exodus. From
And he wasn't even in the trailer.
I know.
the ex-BioWare devs.
That seems cool.
It does. That piqued my interest.
Mm-hmm.
God of War Ragnarok gets free DLC coming out the 12th. So when this podcast airs, but it's free DLC.
Craig.
I don't care. I don't
care.
care.
I care.
That game is done. Don't ever bring it back.
Rick.
Untitled Goose game. Untitled Goose team is making a game called Big Walk. That
one looks interesting.
Interesting trailer for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown trailer was shown. We then have gameplay for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Finally, still no date. Kind of disappointing. Unseen Studio reveals Komuri, and that was an interesting one because that is an interesting character. Let's see here. Ori team is making No Rest for the Wicked.
Looks cool.
Sega Studios announced a ton of remakes.
That looked phenomenal. That one blew my mind.
Crazy Taxi alone. Sorry, I know there's others
Jet
on there.
Set.
Jet Set.
About
Radio.
Jet Set. Yeah. All of them looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage.
I need that now.
Yep.
Right now.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the NES entry in the Budokai Tenkaichi. I played that game so much when I was a kid. I have to buy it. I have to. Dead by Daylight is announcing like a single player horror game. I thought that's what they kind of need.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
New Visions of Mana. We get Visions of Mana. A new Mana game.
Yes.
Cool. I called that when I first saw the trailer.
I love it. I played that as a kid, so I cannot wait.
Rise of the Ronin, March 22nd of this year. We finally get a date for it. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
OD. We'll get into OD and some
OD.
Jurassic Park Survival.
Looks cool.
Black Myth Wukong finally shown and gets also a release trailer 5 days before is releasing 5 days before I turn 30. It's going to be a bad one. Suicide Squad also gets a new trailer. Again, I do think that game is in safe hands. I tend to agree.
Yep.
Warframe update. Assassin's Creed Origins. Bayek founded his own game studio. So the voice for Bayek founded a game studio. Kind of an emotional speech.
I liked that a lot.
Game. I am going to try it.
I'm with you, Barry. I'm going to try that specifically because of that man's speech and like what it means to him. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Life is Strange. The team that made that game is making Lost Records, Bloom and Rage.
Mm-hmm.
The first Berserker Kazan, which was a weird 2D action blending of 3D landscape, really strange. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth theme song, and we saw a little bit of that, including the most unexpected team up in Apex Legends. It seems like Hero's getting the Buster Sword at his heirloom.
Take all my money.
He's putting the Buster Sword in everything this year.
Mm-hmm.
Craig's Time to Shine with Honkai Star Rail getting its next destination.
Let's go. I want to bring my friends.
Skull and Bones release date.
Yep.
Getting a Blade game made by Arcane Studios.
Looks
super excited. Sorry.
I was tempering my expectations because of the studio.
Arcane.
But
also people reached out to comment to see if this was an Xbox exclusive game. They cannot comment on that. Interesting. You figured they'd be able to say it was or not.
Timed exclusive, maybe?
That probably. I'd have to imagine.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Twisted Metal 2. Twisted Metal getting a second season there.
Drunk Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, that was
Lights
funny. Go ahead.
He was drunk.
Yeah.
Lightspeed LA Studio announces Last Sentinel. That was an interesting trailer. I was kind of I didn't know what was going on with it. Hoyoverse also showed Zenless Zone Zero. It's going to take a lot for me not to spend $100 in that game.
I was so mad at them. I'm already playing a Hoyo game. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm trying to look through and see which other ones. Fallout TV show debuts new
Yeah.
footage there.
Mm.
Hello Games, makers of No Man's Sky, showed Light No Fire, game where apparently it's just a full on world.
Don't let that man anywhere near a microphone again, please. He's over promising again on this game.
New Guilty Gear Strive character Elphet. I'm buying that game. I'm sorry. For the deal, just for that character. Final Fantasy 16 DLC. Finally getting 2 sets of it. Finally confirmed that, and the one got shadow dropped day of.
Yep.
That the finals, a shooter, is also been announced there. Baldur's Gate 3 out on Xbox. Let's see here, and the kind of biggest surprise of all, Monster Hunter Wilds is the next next.
Why
gen.
did that one like? I was so hyped up, and maybe it's
shouldn't-
just me. I was literally like, Monster Hunter.
It shouldn't
That's
have
the big
ended.
reveal.
It shouldn't have ended. Or I don't know if we had something that I would recommend should have ended more.
Blade. Something.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know. I just
yeah, Blade combined with the interview. Yeah, sure. Like the interview from the gentleman.
Death
the friend.
Stranding 2 could have been a thing.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
You know
much
what's
more
my
than it.
you know what's my favorite though, and I don't remember the name, but it's like the Monkey King one. You know what I'm talking about? I gotta look it up. That was like my favorite trailer.
Are you talking about Wukong?
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're talking about that one.
Wukong. Let me see.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's looking over
Black
that.
Myth
Okay.
Wukong.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it,
With the Monkey King. That looks phenomenal. I don't even care. Like that thing looks incredible. Like I just kept watching that trailer. I was like, man, that's breathtaking. Oh, that monster looks cool. Oh, that's a giant turtle. This looks cool. I don't know. It's like a weird Souls like, right?
It is very much a Souls like. That game's been teased for a couple years now.
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited for that one.
Didn't it look like nothing but kaiju too, or like just large things that you were fighting? Is like what I remember from it as well.
Give me all of that.
But yeah, so I'll let you guys talk first, just because I did a bunch of announcements. Trailers that made you guys feel something in your heartstrings.
Can I get this one out the way because it's small? The Dead by Daylight, it's got like an Until Dawn kind of feel with it, and it's something. Yeah, exactly, and something with Frank. Is the title of it Frank Stone, and then it has words.
The casting of Frank Stone.
Yes,
I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm very, very interested in that. I'm very, very interested in that. I think that's a nice combination of and I can't wait to kind of see a little bit more. I mean, they did show a good amount, but I can't wait to see what else they like other gameplay or some type of like trailers regarding that. So that one stuck out to me.
It looks good, but I'm kind of burnt out on the supermassive horror game because they've done so many of them in a row with like I don't know if I'm just like it's kind of like with the Telltale games back in the day where I was like, all right, we've done 50,000 of these. I'm tired of playing these.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about supermassive games where it's like these very narrative driven. You're playing a game, but it's very limited. Walk from here to here, make a choice. Like if it's that style of game, which it kind of looks like it is, like I'm interested, but I'm not like overly excited. Just because there's been like how many in the past 3 or 4 years, like 5 or 6, I feel like. There's been a few, but I think
especially with like the anthology series.
Yep, there's like one of those every year.
Yeah.
I think Blade is the obvious choice.
Oh, most
I think that looked cool. I don't know. OD, obviously. But I'm trying to like these games are all like years away. Like Blade, who knows when that game's coming out? Because they literally said, "Let us cook."
Yeah, let us.
Yeah, let us cook. I'm like, all right, see you in 4 years, I guess. And again, like, what type of game are we getting from Arcane? Is this like a Dishonored type game, because if it is, I know Craig, you'll be in. If this is like a Deathloop style game, I won't be. I'll just be like, I'm out. But if this is like
If it's
Arcane's
Dishonored
take
too.
on a, yeah, if this is their take on like a Spider-Man type game, I'm in. Make it a little bit more action oriented, then I'm there. But I think Blade was the one.
Yeah, most anticipated trailer content going forward. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that game, definitely.
Yeah.
Rise of Ronin is an obvious one, at least for me, especially because we are getting it in March. I'm super excited for that. That March this year, I was playing Wukong's, so I know it's going to be better than that. So I don't know. That one stuck out to me as well. I mean, OD we talked about already.
Yes.
That's going to be amazing. We all knew Twisted Metal was going to get a second season, so that was no surprise.
Yep.
Skull and Bones is probably my top anticipated one. Finally getting a date, so I can just I'll take all of my paid time off from my job to play that game when it comes out.
I just remembered the one that I was like the most excited about, and I totally spaced on it. Harmonium, the musical with the deaf girl.
Yeah.
That looks cool.
That looks very cool. That
something
does.
different. Yeah, like I'm in for that one. That looks cool. Really cool.
Trying to see if there's any others.
So, I guess while you guys are looking, maybe at some of them, I'll go over mine. For the most part, I am super excited about Monster Hunter Wilds. Absolutely excited for it. 2025 as well. Not too long of a wait. I'm definitely gonna forget it's coming out until we see another trailer. We had, and again, it's a lot of the big stuff, like the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer looks so good.
It does.
And that theme song just kind of like did it over the edge there for me. And like again, this is Barry's anime life. It's pretty much, but Metaphor, Refantasio, we got that like story trailer thing. I'm cool with that. I'm excited for that game coming in winter of next year. And I am excited to get back into God of War Ragnarok. It's gonna kick my ass for the first couple times because I've completely forgotten how to play that game. But this is Kratos. Everybody complained that Atreus is kind of annoying. So okay, Kratos, we're back to Kratos, and it feels like we're gonna get some sort of DLC as well. That's maybe just Atreus. We will see.
Craig's excited.
Do you feel like they made that game and they were like, all right, we're going to set up Atreus to take over the mantle. And then after everybody was like, dang, he's annoying. Now they're just like, all right, well, maybe we put out a DLC. And if people are like, I don't want to play as that, maybe they just retool what they're thinking going forward and go back to Kratos.
Change is always going to be met. I feel like change is always going to be met with some sort of pushback.
Yeah.
As I feel like Atreus can be good as long as they just make his combat fun, make him an interesting character.
Age him up.
Well,
age him up
like in his 20s or something.
He had some pretty pivotal parts in that game, and one of the most colorful locations in that game was where Atreus went specifically.
Oh my God,
no, I don't know. I don't know.
I want to be excited for Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
I
am.
And I guess for the most part, it's on purpose. We've seen enough trailers to know that, like, hey, it looks good. Coming out 2024, if it actually does, no date on whether or not it's actually. I thought the combat looked cool. It looks like somebody's helping you in this game as well. Like there was somebody tackling the other person.
The mana games. I know that hits a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people, including myself. So I was really excited to see Vision of Mana as like a new mana game coming out. And I'm interested to see what the take is on a mana game in 2023. Like it's been at least 10 years, over 10 years since a new mana game.
Go take a look at Sea of Stars.
Exactly. Play Sea of Stars in the meantime to get it going. I should finish that game.
I feel like that's your best option.
Now's the time. Now's the time to start working on that backlog.
Instead of Honkai Star Rail.
Because unless there's more news, we're going to be talking about the games we played this week.
Yeah,
talk about them games.
All right. I played one game and one game only. Alan
Avatar.
Wake
Oh,
2.
all right.
Ooh.
Did you beat it?
No,
Did you get to the musical?
no. Dang
Oh,
it.
okay. All right. So we kind of know where you are, or at least where you where you're
Okay.
going.
I'm glad you're playing it. That's good. I played some Goat Simulator 3. That dropped on Game Pass, so I had to check that out. I felt like we should check back in, Barry and I, on Remnant 2.
Yeah,
We put some time into that game.
we have put time into that game.
And then I started playing Diablo 3 on console. So I feel like
Okay.
I have to give you the difference between PC and console.
Okay. I only have one game, so I'm mirroring Barry here. I started Final Fantasy 16 Echoes of the Fallen
Oh, a
DLC.
little DLC action.
Yeah.
But what have you also finished Phantom Liberty yet in Cyberpunk?
I am currently waiting on them to get back to me because I have the
Oh,
bug
that's right. You
issue
told
with
me. You
the
told me about the bug.
storm bug issue where there's a perpetual storm going. So waiting on
That's an
C to
ongoing
CD.
game, though, guys.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red is ongoingly emailing me back with troubleshooting that I have already done because as gamers we have communities where we all discuss troubleshooting.
Yep.
Anyway, let's go back
Yep.
to games. I will start ranting.
It's not an ongoing game. Get it out of here.
All
It's a
right.
good game. It's just not ongoing.
So let me give you guys. We'll talk about Remnant 2, and then
Yeah,
Then I'll let you guys know about Alan Wake 2.
sure.
So Remnant 2, we've put a lot of time into
Uh
as
huh.
of late. Of it's I'm mostly enjoying the game with a little bit of couple drawbacks.
Yep.
I can't remember a game as of recently that makes shooting feel so good.
Yep.
Like there is good shooting mechanics, good kickback to it. I overall enjoy like just shooting people, which maybe says something about me that I don't want to confront just yet. But um a lot of this game is kind of spent asking ourselves what are we doing and
Yep.
how do we do it in a lot of the times, and because this is a what Craig and I have learned is that this game has different objectives for everyone in a certain world.
Yep.
He started out in my world, and it's two different objectives for him to do. So there's two different bosses for him. There's two different bosses that I went through one, and he went through a different one. We are currently trying to play the game at the same time as well, so we're kind of focusing on Craig's world and what we're doing in there. But just overall, like it is kind of a fun shooty Dark Souls that I feel like with friends, like I am having a lot of fun playing it with you, Craig. We will
Mm.
continue probably to play it.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of there are times where him and I are both frustrated by
Yes.
the fact that it doesn't feel like we go into areas and doors are locked. Like half of the areas doors are locked. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yep.
The sense of discovery is there because we don't know what we're doing, and I'm not, and
We'll
that's
walk around
also
15 times.
yeah, it is a double-edged sword there where I kind of enjoy some of the stuff we discover and the random stuff that we do together, but it's also a little frustrating to where sometimes the game doesn't hold your hand and tell you where to go. You just
Yep.
need to walk through an entire area, kill a bunch of people, and if you went the wrong way and you're low on supplies, you're going to have to rest and you're going to have to kill them all again.
Yep. Yeah, I think like I've said multiple times while we're playing, like I don't remember the last time that a game has worked this hard against me to make me not like it. But for whatever reason, like we still play it. What I enjoy is that like each area that you go to is drastically different from the last one. Like you start out and it's like, oh, this is like post nuclear wasteland, and then we ended up in one that reminded me of like Destiny with like rock enemies, and then we ended up in like a gothic like Bloodborne style world. Um, and then like that's where we had stopped playing. We had stopped at a checkpoint, and I had went back into it a couple days later, and I was like, let me see where we're at. Let me go ahead a little bit, and it was just like a boss. But so I was like, all right, I'm going to try a boss by myself. I got through the boss, and now I'm just like in this random jungle. So like it's so drastically different. Everything is just wildly out there, and I agree that like the shooting feels really good. I enjoy like killing everything. There isn't a whole lot of loot, right? Like it's not like you're going to be finding a million guns and be like, oh, let me drop this
There
one.
is a
Like
million rings. There
there's
are
a
a
lot of
million.
rings, but your guns and like your guns stay for a long time. I haven't switched out any of my clothes since I started. I don't know if that's like, I don't even know where to buy new clothes because they
That
have
is, yeah.
stats, but like I have not found a single piece of clothing or seen a place to buy one yet. So that's a little weird, but like the bosses are cool, the worlds are cool once you figure out where to go. It definitely doesn't hold your hand and it's not going to give you any help. I was even trying to Google at one point. We had played one night and then we stopped because we didn't know where to go. And the next day, I was like Googling, like, all right, let me at least figure out where to go next. And like when I was Googling it, the answer I got was, oh, it's different for everybody. I'm like, oh, perfect. Like I can't even Google it. But we did finally figure it out. I think it's a good game. I just think it has its flaws for sure. It's a solid 7. I think that's fair. Probably
Healthy 7.
7, 6, 7. Yeah.
All right. Alan Wake 2.
Yes. Playing with headphones or without?
I'm playing on my surround sound. Trust me, it
Perfect.
does it justice.
Wake.
It does it justice. I cannot believe I'm still playing this game after being jump scared as
I know.
much as I have.
Barry.
It's
I know
constant.
Barry, I hate it. Go ahead.
All I can do is laugh. Like
Yep.
it scares the living hell out of me almost every 20 minutes.
Yep.
I get comfortable, and then and then 2 seconds later it's a you know kind
The
of a
flash.
schizophrenic, yeah, the flashback of like someone yelling at me.
Yeah, or yeah. Something.
Yep.
Something
And
contorting.
you guys will get an idea of how far I am in the game. It's not very far. But like the section I just played where I just got the shotgun and the gentleman busts through the cabin.
Yeah.
I literally put my controller down and I was like, man,
Yeah.
like it never ends. And it has a lot to do with the tension that the game is building, because like the girl that just talked to Sago Rose telling me about what happened to my daughter, and I'm like, who the hell are you? Who are you to tell me what's going
Yep.
on here?
Yeah.
But again, this is Alan Wake. I kind of expected this coming in just because I did watch 2-hour video on what on what Alan Wake and 1 and Control are. I am having a lot of fun with it.
Good.
The jump scares, like it's gonna take me a little bit.
Yeah.
I was not prepared because even like in the first 5 seconds, it gives you that like flash schizophrenic, moment thing. And I was, again, like all I can do is I get jumped.
Yep.
And I laugh. I have to laugh it off because I have to keep playing.
Craig.
I didn't want to psych you out of playing the game because the game is so good that like I tried to downplay it, but it is that constant, like they're never going to let you be comfortable in this game. Not once.
No.
Like even when you're in the town,
yeah,
and like you're walking around talking to people, those are your moments where you're like, you can kind of like breathe and you're like, okay, let me go talk to people. Let me check things off my board. And you know what I mean? Let me do that. But then when you start going in, you just have to like, you do have to accept it as like, they're going to get me over and over again. And you just have to be like, okay, cool. Now let me play. That part when in the cabin, when he comes through the wall, that got me so good.
Yeah. It's
oh man, because I did not expect that. And I'm like, oh dear God. And
Yeah.
I think I missed. I think my shot missed because I like pulled the, my controller. But I think like, so you haven't played as Alan yet then.
No, I'm gonna try.
Okay,
I'm gonna try and get to that today.
Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
where it really takes off.
Yeah, if it's any if it causes you any solace with this, like I actually, and the last time I did something like this was with the Game of Thrones books, with the last 2. I looked up recommendations on how to play the chapters so that you kind of keep the story flowing, because you could eventually you'll be able to go back and forth between the 2 at your leisure between chapters. And there is apparently a way to like really like get the game kind of fluently going by going at a certain one. So I would recommend that also,
Yeah, I think when you get the ability to switch back and forth, and it's cool that they do that. I just looked at it as like you're going to play a section and then you're gonna get to a checkpoint, and there's gonna be a puddle on the ground, and they'll tell you like, hey, you can switch back now, or maybe at that point you can't. But I always looked at it as like, you know what, I'm having more fun playing as Saga and hearing her story right now. I'm gonna keep going. Or there were times where I was like, I'm having so much fun playing as Alan Wake. I'm just gonna keep going for another 2 or 3 checkpoints, and then I'll go back to her. And you can do that. So whatever, like if you're playing an Alan Wake section, you're like, oh my god, that was rough. All right, cool. Switch back over to Saga and go do the town for a little bit, you know?
Yeah, and like this doesn't ruin it, but Saga tends to have the longer sections. So
Yep.
sometimes when I'm done with her with a section, I'll just be like, "Where's Alan? I miss his voice," you know. So I'll go back to Alan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the jump scares, Barry, because there's a reason why I haven't finished this game, and it's not because I'm too scared to play it, but it literally is because like I'm also walking around trying to find everything too, because it is a survival horror game. So
Yep.
like you don't have a lot of bullets and all those other type of things. So it's taken me a bit, but every single jump scare I guarantee that you jumped at, I jumped at over here. I'm playing it while my wife is actually playing Power Wash Simulator. So she's having a different gaming experience in the same room,
No kidding.
but she just hears me going like, "You did it again. You got me right." What is this? Is this Get Craig? Is this the Get Craig game? Alan, like that's me when I'm playing. Because like so you're
Yep.
not alone, my guy. I know Craig has a better tolerance for that, but
Yeah.
like you're not alone, Barry. It's like they're terrifying me.
Which is
I'm
hilarious because neither one of you have gotten to the part yet.
I don't know if I did, Craig, because I have to ask you maybe off
Sure.
stream or off the after we're done recording, because like I don't know if I am yet, because I did
Okay.
go a little ways myself as well.
Okay.
I'm not
But you
sure.
like it, Barry?
yes, yes,
Okay.
I do.
Like I'm glad you're enjoying it. I would hate to be
I
like,
look.
Wait.
I just hope that like I either reach the point where it doesn't affect me as bad,
yep.
or the game starts to be, or the game's like stops doing the game stops doing it, which it's not going
It's
to.
not going to.
Um, but
It's not.
in order for me to keep fighting through like all the jump scares that like definitely get me, I the story has to continue to like pull me in, and I
Yep.
just hope it keeps this momentum all the way through.
Oh, it
Um,
definitely does. Yeah.
because like the
It
one
definitely does.
thing, and I don't know if it was just like the beginning portion, but the first Taken you take on in the morgue.
Oh
um
yes.
I don't know what
Yeah.
happened, because I was just going to run and get my gun
Yeah.
after he kind of made his way around, but I sprinted and he grabbed me. He
Yeah.
teleported legit
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to me, and I was like, okay, that's kind of stupid. That I waited. I was just gonna turn around and shoot him, but then
Gotta wait in
and
the
then
light.
yeah, and then I did wait in the light.
Oh, okay.
I waited for him to go all the way like around, and then because I sprinted, he
Oh yeah.
got me. That
Yeah.
was
He was like alerted.
Mm-hmm.
So
well,
you
and alerted doesn't mean you teleport to me.
yeah,
It does in Alan Wake.
Yeah,
it does.
and it was funny for me because the game then tells you this is not how the story goes, and I'm like, okay, I get it, Alan. I get it. I messed up the
Yeah.
story. Thanks. But did you guys listen to the entire song after kind of the
Oh,
there's a
after every
song that
chapter.
plays.
Yep.
Oh, is there a
Yeah.
song that plays after every chapter?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'm
It's
only in
it's
chapter
very
2, so I didn't know that.
relaxing, which is I
Yeah, it's
like that
real
they
cool.
do that because you're usually like just like this at the end of the chapter, and then you're like,
Yep.
oh, okay, thank God.
They did
Like,
that in the first Alan Wake after the end of
Yeah.
because they were episodes. Each chapter
Yeah.
was an episode. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
that's the thing.
for me, after the song ends, I waited like another 4 minutes, like because I was waiting for Alan Wake to do something to me. I was like, "You're gonna get me. You're gonna scare me," and I'm ready for it. Like I'm actually ready, and then it didn't give it to me. So that just proves Alan Wake knows me better than I know myself.
That's
um,
true. He knew.
Barry, I want to hear your take on the inhabitants of that world because as you play, I just kind of want to see what your take is on just like talking to them and being around them because like that's something that I'm going to talk about it when I finish it, but that's something that's really intrigued me is just the connection that you have with the characters you meet as well.
Look, my favorite thing in Alan Wake right now is I just turn on my light and shine it in everyone's face, and I go, "Have you been drinking tonight?"
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably just it's probably something weird, but I am enjoying Alan Wake 2. It's riding this very razor thin line of keeping me interested in the story, but then not scaring me off. It is a very razor thin line it's walking right now. It just needs to keep doing it, and I will definitely fight through every single jump scare that
I think
comes my
like
way.
There's gonna be a bunch.
there was a moment for me when I really started getting into it where like you get in the groove with that game, you're shining your light, you're shooting him, and you're just like full blown in that moment, and you're just like, yep, jump scare, boom, you're dead. Up, there's no, yep, boom, you're dead, and you just keep going.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just kind of gets burned into your brain that you're like, yeah, I'm ready.
You
Yeah,
know
I
what?
think
Yeah.
I just need to get into the mindset, kind of like I did with Resident Evil.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's what I have to do because yeah, you definitely underplayed the jump scare. I
I
Yeah.
didn't
There's a
want to
bunch.
scare you off because
He didn't
I
want
think
to
it's a
jump scare
game that
you off.
everybody should play. And if
That
I were to tell you like, oh my god, it's a jump scare every 10 minutes, you would have been like, I'm not interested.
Barry, and like to be honest with you, like like what I do now is I just like kind of I do the jogging through it. I run to
Yeah.
wherever because I know they're gonna jump scare me. So I just like kind of just jog through everything with the expectancy of them to just throw whatever antagonist is I'm looking for face, in my face or scratch, whichever,
Mr. Scratch.
Mr.
Yeah,
Scratch.
sorry,
Thank you.
the lights are flickering. In my
So are
house.
mine. So are mine.
I'm pretty sure Alan Wake is inhabited in my home now.
Wake. Yeah.
Your
It's
lights and my lights both flickered at the same time.
well, no. What was bad as well is during the morgue scene. My like we didn't lose power, but my lights flashed at the same time as they were flashing in the game. I had
Perfect.
to stop.
What?
I had to stop because I was like, look, I know it's a little rainy in Central PA today, but this was like it
Yeah.
was
Wow.
the right
That's
time.
hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it's at this point, Alan Wake has entered my life.
There you
I'm
go.
just another one of his
He
characters
wrote you
at this
into the
point.
story. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
You
wrote
good?
you into yeah.
but you go ahead and tell us about your game then, Craig.
All right. Goat Simulator 3 that dropped on Game Pass. I've been kind of waiting for it to drop on Game Pass. There is no Goat Simulator 2. If you don't know, they just went from 1 to 3, which is hilarious. These are
In true
like,
fashion.
yeah, I love the Goat Simulator games. They're such a good, like, chill, wacky game to play. Like, they literally start the game with the cart scene from Skyrim. Like you're in a cart with three other
That's
goats.
fantastic.
Yeah, and they mention it. But you can actually play this game co-op, which is kind of cool if you want to grab some friends. I just like that, like, they take anything they can from other games and throw it in here. Like, there's a button to do like tricks, like Tony Hawk. You can grind rails, but then you're going around and like little mini things, like, hey, help the farmer finish fixing his tractor or something stupid. And it's you literally like headbutting something and it falls on the farmer or something stupid. But it's very entertaining. I think I have like a love for it because when my daughter was younger, we both used to play Goat Simulator all the time. It was like her favorite game because she didn't play the game. She would just run around and like cause mayhem. And you can easily do that for hours in this game if you want, or if you really want to focus in on the story. I'll put that in quotations, story. There's a story there for you to do and objectives and all that stuff. But I think it's like the perfect type of Game Pass game. I think it was cheap when it came out. I want to say it was like $30 or something like that. Just a super cool game, especially for, actually, maybe it's not good for right now because I should be finishing other games, but I'm just like, I'm having fun running around as a goat, being
That's
an
what
idiot.
matters.
Yeah, you like to
That
keep it
is.
simple. But also, speaking of games that are not the perfect time to start, Diablo 3
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
on console. I had stopped playing it on PC. And part of the reason I had stopped was because I was getting tired of clicking so many times when I play. Like that whole game, you're just like click, 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 click. And the last Diablo on console, I played more because it would just felt better. And playing Diablo 4, sorry, not 3, playing on console with a controller and having all your, like, the way all your spells bind to your controller just feels good. So I'm not sitting there clicking 80,000 times in a 1 hour session. I can sit like literally just chill and like it just, I don't know, something about it on console feels so good. And it like part of it pulls at me that I'm like, no, you shouldn't be playing Diablo on console. You should be playing it on PC. That's where it started. That's where it's meant to be. But at the same time, man, it feels so good on console. It
Hmm.
just feels incredible. So I've been playing that a lot in between like our Remnant sessions. Diablo's been my go-to right now. Just to kind of go in and play for an hour, which in that game, an hour means you probably didn't even do any of the main quests. You probably did 8 side
Yes,
quests because there's so many of
there
them.
are so many.
But I'm still having a blast playing as the Necromancer and just killing everything with my horde of skeletons. It's a good time. So I would say if you're on the fence about Diablo, now's the perfect time. It's cheap. I would almost lean towards console, honestly, over PC at this point. I think it's just a better experience.
All right. I might tap into that game again with my
Yeah.
wife because we have a campaign going together.
Mhm.
So yeah, Final Fantasy 16, Echoes of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Um, quick disclaimer: I am not incredibly far into it yet. Obviously, it hasn't been out for a long time. And then there was that scare where what it was doing to people's consoles. Thank
Mhm.
you, Barry, for letting us know prior to
Well,
that.
and it wasn't the game; it was
It was yeah,
PlayStation servers. Yeah,
it was PlayStation server.
Sony sucks sometimes. As
Yeah.
much as I'm a Sony fanboy,
It's like they're not
they
prepared.
Yeah,
I just I just don't know what they do sometimes. Like I think it had something to do with the console update switching people's internet to something that the PlayStation doesn't support. It eventually fixed itself according to them. Uh but it was just one of those things where early in the morning there was no error code that PlayStation had listed on it, and people were telling me that their PlayStation, like, they had to send it in for a $250 repair. And I
Oof.
was like, I can't
yeah.
afford this during Christmas. Like, or
No.
the holiday season, like I got to be using that money for gifts, not to buy a new PlayStation Slim or
Yeah.
send out my PlayStation.
Right.
So I'm just glad it fixed itself, and I'm just glad that I instead of erasing my entire console, just waiting. Patience
Yeah.
is usually the
Fair.
greatest key.
Yeah. As far as the expansion itself, from what I did play, one of the things that I won't say disappointed, but I was like just kind of like inquiring about in my own head or making is like when you start it, you get a couple of items, and then from wherever you last saved, if you're like the three of us and beat the game, it just starts right before the final battle. And all
Oh.
you got to do is just walk up and talk to a NPC. They get it going for you. It kind of operates as a separate mission in itself. You can select it, and then they do a couple of point of no return kind of things early on. But I've noticed that you could still fast travel when you do get to those points. Um, but the beginning is kind of like a where are we going? Because you spend a lot of time going through already explored portions of the map. So I was a little worried in the beginning because I was like, this is supposed to be DLC. I'm just kind of they were like, go here. Oh no. Okay, now go here. Oh no, go here. And you're just kind of like doing a like a foot. It almost felt like I was doing like a cross country race just across the map. But then I got to a part where it definitely said, all right, here is the DLC. So I'm excited for where it's going. Obviously, the three of us saw the trailers and like what to expect in terms of some well, not summons, but you know what I mean, in that game. And it looks like it's going to be very, very good. It's like the parts that I'm at, the difficulty has ramped back up to where my character should be, which was something else I was also worried about because I was fighting level 30 somethings when I was level 50, well, I
Mhm.
guess 49 at that point because I never got to 50 like Craig did. Um, but when you get to where the DLC really starts ramping up and showing you what the new story is going to be about, definitely I've had a couple of boss battles already. Same type of like in your moment, like let's go, like, and I'm not sure if I'm going to win. Let me get all of my suit, like my specific moves off in the time frame that I need to do it. So like there's definitely those feels. I thought I was almost going to die the second boss I fought. But I pulled it together at the end, did a little limit break, got the health back. You guys know the 9 yards there. I'm excited to play it. I think it's going to be worth the $10, definitely. And I know that the three of us are excited that there is another one promised. What did they say? Like spring? Was it spring they promised? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's good. It's good. The only other issue I had is very small, and let me know if you guys experienced this. Is it seemed a little sluggish when I loaded the game up again and got into the DLC. Like it didn't feel as polished as the game that I remembered. It felt like I loaded in. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say we'll have to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like I loaded in and the game was buffering. Is what it felt like.
Okay.
That's what it felt like to me. So let me know if you guys run into that when you guys give it a whirl. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be great. I can give a final synopsis when I'm done. Do you guys know how many hours anybody
I
said it
haven't
was?
even heard. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll
I
see.
I think hot take after the second DLC, they're going to announce that there is a new ending after
Oh
the second
yeah.
DLC. Um,
I like
Echoes
that
of the
I
thing.
Fallen, right? That's what you
y-
said it's called. This
that's the one
first
he
one.
started. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
Echoes
it's
of the
Under
Fallen.
under
Fallen
3
Tides or
hours.
Rising. Okay.
Oh
That's what it
wow.
says. Under 3 hours.
Well, okay
So
then.
so you might be almost done.
It might
I'm
be.
actually I'm actually what you said at the beginning about like going to other places. Um, I might actually be okay with that because I feel like if I play it, I'm gonna need that time to be like, how do I play again? Because
Yeah,
it's been so
absolutely.
long
You
to be
will.
like, I'd be like, I don't remember all these buttons combinations that I was throwing when I got to the end of the game, and I felt like I was like the master Final Fantasy player. So I probably need it.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're and like at that point we played because we played the game so religiously when it was out that yeah,
Yep.
there was one point in certain battles where like I would just do the move and just hold the controller because I knew
Yep.
how much time I had while the move was going on, and I knew that one actually stopped time for a second.
Yep.
While they were in break status. So you do need that time to get acclimated again. I was very sluggish when I was playing.
Yeah.
Until I got it down a little bit more. I didn't even remember what moves I had, what equipment I had, or whatever. So, but
Okay.
it looks
So not
promising.
so not very long. 3 hours or so.
Okay. Yeah, but that's all I played.
Okay. Um, as the vibes are immaculate for me lately, the movies I watched was Hannah Waddingham's Home for Christmas on Apple TV Plus.
I did watch that a couple weeks ago. Also on Apple TV Plus, I started Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. That's the Godzilla TV show. And then, Lord help me, I watched Killers of the Flower Moon. All 3.5 hours of that bad boy.
Lord
Did
help you,
you?
indeed.
Lord help
I
you.
did.
My wife and I dug into the Christmas movies, so like I just watch old
Yes.
Christmas movies, but I don't have like anything new that I would watch. It's all stuff that you guys. I mean, if you want me to hear my hot take on Elf, I can give it to you.
One of
But
the greatest movies of our time is what it
yes,
is.
yes, what it is.
Well, and I guess with that, you kind of gave me the transition to talk about the Christmas special on Apple
Mhm.
TV Plus. In short, oh my God, did it get me in the Christmas spirit?
Yep.
It's one funny, especially if you're a Ted Lasso fan. There are a couple cameos there that people will enjoy. Two, Hannah Waddingham can do it all.
She can sing.
She could sing. She's hot. Uh, bonk. I'll admit
Bonk.
bonk. Um,
Bonk.
also, I don't know what Apple TV does sometimes. This is one of the most picturesque
Every Apple
things
TV
I've
show
yeah.
is
I
incredible.
I don't know what they're doing, and I guess extrapolations that the one TV show I have watched on there, I really wasn't that impressed with.
Hmm.
This was on another level.
Ted Lasso
Um,
looks phenomenal too.
It does.
yeah, I
There's
just don't know
something
what they're
about
doing.
it.
I what I hate is they're gonna be like, oh, this is all shot on Apple
Yeah,
on
that's what I was.
an iPhone 15 Pro
Yep.
Max, and I'm
Yep.
gonna be like, this is stupid.
Yep.
Regardless,
It's got to be the
uh,
way it's
It's
encoded through the app or
yeah,
something,
yeah,
because
it
it's like
looks
true
it's
4K.
yeah,
yeah.
it's real. It looks really anything you
Mhm.
watch really polished. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, if you want to get into the Christmas spirit, Craig, watch this. Just
That's
because
great.
she's a fantastic singer. Every single little break she puts in, it's a little funny. The dresses I have to know how much some of the stuff she wears cost, because that was like they're gorgeous.
Barry's
I don't know.
talking about dresses now.
I look. I was in awe. I really was in
Yeah.
awe of this. She I didn't realize how incredible she was, and that's my own fault for not knowing enough about
Go
her.
ahead and say bonk again. You know you want
No,
to.
no, I
Barry, do
didn't
we
do
have to
any of
call Dua Lipa and tell her that
no,
you have
no,
a
no,
new
no, no, no,
you have a new
nothing like that.
muse?
But at the end of it, I was like, you know what, that made me feel good. Like the Christmas stuff, all the Christmas songs she sang, the guests were all there. It is a fun time. It would have been so cool to be there live, like especially during like the little finale part. Would have been really cool. You should absolutely give it a watch.
Yep. It's not very long either.
Nope, 44 minutes.
Yeah. It's a short one. I
Okay.
liked all the cameos. Cameos were cool. I thought it was really cool. You know it's not short? Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yep,
Let's
we're
go.
two opposite sides of the spectrum.
Man. I wasn't like super hyped for this movie, but I was like, I should probably watch it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, this is an Oscar movie. It's definitely an Oscar movie. It's like 3.5 hours. This movie could have been like 2 hours tops, and we would have got the same out of it. There's just like,
Is it Scorsese?
I don't know.
Here, I'll look it up.
If it's Scorsese, then it's definitely
I don't
needs to be
think it
3.
is.
I don't think it is either. Like Leonardo's is great in it. Everybody in the movie is great. Like, it has to do with like we're talking about way back when in America with like Native Americans and the mix between Native Americans and the white Europeans who are coming in to take their land and like they're marrying the Native Americans and like it's all that going on. And in between that, there's like a bunch of murders going on. Who was it?
It's a Scorsese film. He's right.
That's why it's 3.5 hours.
Yep. There's just like there's so much in this movie that you can tell they filmed and obviously Scorsese was like, nope, we're keeping it. You know what I mean? But it's like you watch and you're like, I didn't need any of that at all. Is it gonna? I don't know if it's gonna win awards or not. Side note, Barbie got nominated for like a bazillion Golden Globes, and it's like the second most nominations for a movie ever. So congratulations to Barbie.
Congratulations
they
to
deserve
Barbie.
it.
Yes.
I am not one that gets into Oscar movies, and we know what those are. They're specifically made to win awards. They're specifically made to get actors awards, like they did with Leonardo way back when. It's an okay movie. Like it was entertaining enough, but like it's not something I'd ever watch again, and it's not something I would really recommend unless you're just like super interested in it. I just felt I watched it out of necessity. I spent a lot of time on my phone. It's one of those movies. So yeah, take that for what it is. It's not going to end up on my list, that's for sure. But I did start Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, mainly because my wife has been obsessed with Godzilla movies the past couple of years. I don't know why.
I respect her for that. Sorry, I like Godzilla.
I'm super excited to watch what is that, Godzilla Years
Minus
Zero?
one.
Minus one.
-1.
But I'm not going to watch that in theaters because I don't like watching subtitled movies in theaters. I just don't.
It's fair.
So once that comes out streaming and digital, I'll check it out. But another Apple TV series that looks crystal clear when I'm watching it, and it's pretty cool. You're getting like a nice little story of like from the 50s when they first found like the monsters, and then also cut with today after like what happened in the last Godzilla movie. It's a nice like mix. Everybody in it is phenomenal acting wise, and like I think it's just a really good series. I've heard good things about it. I just keep forgetting because I never look in my Apple TV app like ever. And I was like, oh, you know what? That was on there. I need to watch that before the end of the year. So 100% of like, if you like Godzilla, check it out. If you don't like Godzilla, it's also good. It's kind of a good like disaster type after the Godzilla attack and everybody's trying to survive type movie. It's really cool. So definitely check that one out. But yeah, I think we're getting near the end of movies for the year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a couple more to get through. I've been hearing a lot of good things about A24's film Past Lives.
Yep.
So I'm trying to figure out how to watch that. And I will be going to the theater to see Godzilla -1 as long as it's playing locally.
Yeah, I
So
think
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
okay, well, yeah, we'll
And
have to see.
I did not forget what I said a couple of weeks ago. I do still plan on trying to watch every single major movie that comes out next year. So I'm in the process of compiling all that onto a list that I can print out and mark off as I go. That's my
There you
All
goal
go.
for
right.
next year. My New Year's
Okay.
resolution.
Yeah, because it's definitely not beating Red Dead Redemption 2.
Nope.
Okay.
We need a new gaming resolution. That's what
That
we
we
need.
do. We'll,
I
we'll make
love
one.
that.
But
I love
then
that.
I guess to end the podcast, Craig, hottest take on the Christmas films that you watched?
Yes.
I mean, Elf is the number one movie. Chris. Oh, here's a hot take.
Mhm.
Um, every streaming service is like blown away by Elf. We'll stick with Elf, but like if you look, it is dominating the top 10 of like every streaming service that provides it. And then also another hot take, there are not enough Christmas movies via streaming services either.
Agreed.
Very hot take, very learned today and yesterday when we were really trying to find some nuggets,
You have to
but
jump around.
you have to jump, yeah. But there's a lot of them playing the same ones too,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they have like Lampoon's Christmas Vacation,
Yep.
and
That's on
you're
what,
like, oh,
Prime or something?
it's on Prime, I think Max, and
Yeah.
it's like that. Okay, I get it. Christmas Carol,
Yep.
stuff like that. But that's my hot take: is Elf is like the number one movie in December every year, no matter what, on
Do you
streaming services too as well.
do you guys have like I'm trying to figure out if it's just me that's weird, but like do you have movies that like you won't watch until the week of Christmas? Because Elf for me is one of them. Like Elf, Home Alone, I will not watch until the week of Christmas. Die Hard, I have to watch Christmas Eve. I don't know if you guys have those or if I'm just like weird, but
It's
like
probably
everybody
Jingle All the Way for me.
say I already watched that. I watched that this past week.
It's
But like
yeah,
go ahead.
It's Charlie Brown Christmas for me.
Okay, like the week of.
It has to be watched Christmas Eve, and then
Okay.
what we'll do is we'll do what we do with Halloween movies is we'll try to put like most of the number ones, but like Elf just found its way in our watching.
Yeah. Yeah,
We just
yeah.
wanted to see it.
I
Yeah, I
just like to
spent.
have go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say I spent 2 hours this week looking in stores because I'm trying to find a Blu-ray of like those older ones, the like the
Yes.
puppet ones,
Yep.
because they're my favorite. I watched those so many times as a kid, and it's hard to find even now, and I don't think many streaming services have them either. So it's like a matter
We
of
bought that on Blu-ray a couple of years ago. And yeah,
yeah,
you're right. I have not seen it on streaming services since.
because
Um
those are the Christmas movies for
yeah.
me.
Yeah, like Rudolph you're talking about and like
Yeah,
those ones.
Frosty the
Yeah.
Snowman.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
those are
Um,
classics. Oh my god.
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
have to watch those.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and end the podcast here. I want to thank everybody for listening and your support. If you're listening on your podcast listening platform of choice, please make sure to like and leave us a review and share it with a friend if you feel so inclined. If you are watching us on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe. Let us know. I don't know the most that try to explain to me that Baldur's Gate deserves all the awards that it got. I guess I'm gonna make somebody mad saying that. But again, I just kid. Baldur's Gate's the greatest game ever made. I
Yeah.
appreciate all of the support you guys give us. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye guys.